we've all now seen the horrific video in Buffalo of the 75-year-old man being pushed down, cracked skull. You hear his skull hitting the pavement. You see him bleeding out from the ear. You see the cops prioritizing stopping the camera rather than helping the gentleman. But you might not know who he is. He's Martin Gugino, and he turns out he's an amazing guy. And so I want to make sure you know about him. He was identified. This is from the Intercept, wonderful article from the Intercept. As usual, Robert Mackey wrote this. He says he was identified as a veteran activist, Martin Gugino, by his friend Mark Colville, one of 7 Catholic anti-nuclear activists affiliated with Plowshares and nuclear abolition movement, currently awaiting sentencing for breaking into Kings Bay Naval Submarine Base in St. Mary's, Georgia in 2018 on the 50th anniversary of the assassination of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. There's a 75-year-old guy who all this time has been emulating Dr. King. There's a 75-year-old guy who's such a devout Catholic that he puts his body on the line, even at this late date, to say, hey, if you're going to hurt other people, you're going to have to get through me. And unfortunately, the cops in Buffalo said, yeah, no problem. We can get through you. We'll crack your skull. And then if the public is outraged by it, we'll all resign because we believe we have the ultimate right to do that. More from the Intercept. Culver wrote on Twitter, this is my good friend Martin Gugino, a longtime activist and political thinker, has struggled to close Guantanamo as a member of Witness Against Torture, a man of deep faith who spends much of his free time visiting prisoners in Attica, and he's battling catastrophic illness. Look, I tell you this because sometimes, when we talk about religion, I'll do a caveat and I'll say, but some of the best people on earth are religious people. And so I might not agree with the religion, but I deeply appreciate those who follow correctly and who do these wonderful acts for other people. This is who I'm talking about. And if they had not pushed him down and hurt him that badly, you might never have known about Martin Gugino, but he would have been a hero nonetheless. He's not a hero for getting pushed down. He's a hero for quietly fighting for you while you didn't know it. All this time. One more. Last week, Gugino posted a YouTube statement addressed to the federal court in Brunswick, Georgia, where Colville is awaiting sentencing in support, in which he had cited Martin Luther King's belief that the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. Gugino added, what he doesn't say there is that it doesn't bend itself. We have to bend it. We have to go out in the culture and act justly, act morally, do good, and little by little, it will bend the culture towards justice. And some of the times, the culture doesn't want to be bent, and so there'll be conflict, and that's just part of it. He said before going out on these protests, he was worried about COVID because he's 75, and he was worried about, quote, the risk of getting pummeled, because he's been through it before. But still, at the age of 75, quiet hero, Martin Gugino, got out that day, and like every other day, he went out there and he went to protest for others. Because that is what deeply religious people do. They don't hold Bibles upside down in front of churches for a photo op. And they do it not to get recognized, but they do it because it's the right thing to do. So that's what an American hero looks like. And so the next time you hear people talking about left-wing protesters and saying they're terrorists, or we need to call them domestic terrorists, we need to hunt them down, we need to arrest them, we need to attack them, remember Martin Gugino, because that's what a left-wing activist, and that's what an American hero actually looks like.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.